Hi, I'm Dan Beck, the Director of LGRMS. Thanks for joining me. I want to discuss how we are hurting sheriff's deputies and law enforcement officers within the counties of Georgia and the impact that has on ACCG's workers' compensation insurance pool members. Let's look at some numbers.
Over the 5-year period between 2010 and 2014, the ACCG's workers' compensation members suffered over 19,000 claims with a total incurred value of almost $127 million. Within that total, the Sheriff's Office, jails, and law enforcement departments suffered 39% of those claims and 39% of the total incurred cost at almost $51 million.
That's a lot of money, not to mention the personal impact of those deputies and their families. So, we know we have an issue within these areas, right? Do we just accept it as a cost of doing business? No. I'm sure we'll look at this as an opportunity and want to take action to address these issues. So how are these deputies getting hurt? What are the top causes?
The number one cause? You guessed it, motor vehicle incidents. They account for $18 million over 5 years. Number two, slips, trips, and falls. They account for $9 million of losses over that same 5-year period. Tied for number two, arrests and altercations. They also account for $9 million of losses. At number four, incidents while training. This could be PT, firearms, or defensive tactics training. These injuries account for almost $4 million of losses. And last but not least, foot pursuit injuries account for almost $2 million of losses over that 5-year period.
Okay, we know where the claims are occurring. So here's the hard question. How do we reduce the risk of these incidents from occurring in the future? You are the expert. You have more knowledge about law enforcement in your little finger than I'll ever have. But I'm going to make a few suggestions and ask a few questions to get the ball rolling on your problem-solving journey. First of all, there are no magic bullets. No quick fixes, no simple solutions. And although LGRMS can provide training, programs, policies, evaluations, and action planning that'll assist you in reducing all of these risks, without a strong risk reduction culture, all of these efforts will have little effect. So how do you develop a risk reduction culture? As you know, there are many elements to your organization's culture, but it all starts with your leadership's values. As a leader, what do you value? For example, do you value your deputies wearing seatbelts versus their comfort or convenience? How much do you value your deputies' safe operation of their motor vehicles versus chasing suspects at any cost? These are all important questions, and although you might not verbally ask them or provide a proclamation, your employees know what you value based on what questions you ask, what you measure, and who you recognize. If you value your deputies wearing seatbelts, then ask them questions about it, measure their usage, and recognize those that meet your expectations. Setting very clear expectations is the next step. Do you have a pursuit, use of force, or a policy for any of these other high-risk issues? A written policy is essential to ensure your department has a consistent expectation in managing these situations. LGRMS can provide you with sample policies for any of these topics. Telling someone they must wear a seatbelt is not training. You must sell each employee on why wearing the seatbelt is important to both the organization and the employee themselves. LGRMS can provide you on-site training on multiple topics including motor vehicles and the other high-hazard issues within your organization. We also provide you access to both Local GovU and the Public Agency Training Center website that has a variety of law enforcement topics. You can access both these sites within lgrms.com. Best of all, it's all free of charge to our members and likely meets post requirements. What do your employees think when you set an expectation and don't hold them accountable? That's correct. That policy is not important to you or the organization. Establish clear consequences of failing to follow expectations and hold employees accountable. Trust me, they may not like it, but they will appreciate it. And lastly, if you have an unacceptable trend of incidents, start by establishing a goal. Let's say you have an average of 10 motor vehicle incidents a year for the past 5 years.
Set a realistic goal. Maybe you think you can achieve a 50% reduction, or maybe a 25% reduction is more realistic. Once you've set a goal, develop an action plan to address opportunities for improvement. Then periodically report the status of your goals and plan to your department. LGRMS can assist you with conducting trend analysis and developing action plans.
I hope this educated you in some way about the opportunities we have to reduce injuries to law enforcement officers. Please feel free to contact me or any of our LGRMS field staff with any questions, concerns, or requests for service. You can find all of our contact information at lgrms.com. Thanks again. Have a safe and productive day.